Hey, guys.
Hey.
Welcome back to I Bet You Think This Podcast is About You. And if you think it's about you, you know by now it's because you have a narcissistic personality disorder. Sorry to tell you. Welcome to episode 10 that we have. I mean, sometimes it's hard to come up with names for these, right,
Yeah, but this is a good one.
But this is a good one.
This is about you, too.
This is back to the Star Wars, harkening back to the Star Wars days, which I didn't even like that much, but I love Yoda. So this is Yoda Liar. But before we get into why we decided to use Yoda as our muse for this episode, we have to do our warm-up. So daily high-low, go.
Okay. It's funny. It's harder when, we only half the day has progressed. We barely even have had the day.
I know. Well, people out there don't know that, but it's 1:30.
Yeah, so it's what's happened so far on a Monday? My high is that today is my last day of work before I'm gone for the week. So I'm just really excited that I'm just done. I'm gone, and then this is it. My low is
what are you going to do? Are you going to go live a life of leisure?
I've got a few things up my sleeve.
Nice.
It's got a few things planned, a few things unplanned, and I'm really looking forward to it. My low is that I have the most awkward tan lines in the world from the sun over the weekend.
Look at
because
these.
Here's the
Look
thing
at
when
these,
you
girl.
try to take your only my left butt cheek, only one of my butt cheeks is there's a huge it's so burnt like a tomato, and then the other one's totally fine. And then I looked on the back of my calves, and it looks like an angry freaking baby. Something was just slabbering on. It's the most uneven thing ever. It's just because I was there and I was just trying to kind of get to different parts of my body.
You were where?
At the beach.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, I can't really reach it. I'll be fine. It turns out today when I looked in the mirror, no, I wasn't fine.
You should have asked for help.
It's so awkward.
Like in the movies.
Oh my gosh.
Call over some buff.
It's just
lifeguard.
So weird. Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
Not where I was at. There no buff.
You just got to go back.
Anyone.
Even it up.
Even it out.
I know. All right. So my low is even though it's only 1:30, I have a really good low because this is me being me. I am so ditzy sometimes, right? I'm way to perpetuate a stereotype, but I can be so dumb.
So the bottle of wine last night that didn't have anything in it.
That was yesterday. That was my low yesterday.
Here, in case you want more wine. There's nothing in it, though.
That was me secretly telling you were cut off.
Okay.
So my low today is I had a client lunch, and I walked in. It's a small town, okay? Not that small. It's a mid-sized town that we live in. And I walk into the establishment where I was meeting my client for lunch. And I don't know what happened in my brain, but I saw a different client, and I just thought I was meeting him. So I was like, hey, how you doing? He looked at me with this confused look on his face, and I literally sat down at his table. And then the other client, who's 2 tables away, he's like, S? I was like, shit. I'm so stupid. I was like, you're both clients. Sorry, guys.
Oh my gosh.
I just met the wrong one. So that was my low. My high, what's it?
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. That's the kind of stuff I do. I do stupid things like that. But so my high is that I was supposed to have drinks after work with a person I don't really like. And I got it's one of those things you keep pushing off. So today was D-Day, and I was going to have to bite the bullet and just do it. She canceled on me.
Yes.
She sends me this email. She's like, turns out I can't make it. I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm real sorry, too. Maybe next time. And then didn't give her a date.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Catch you
continuously will just not be able to match up with her calendar.
I know. And it's not even that she's a bad person. She just talks too much and too long.
Oh.
Yeah. And not that I don't talk too much, but.
It's always a good feeling, though, when you just didn't want to and you're like, oh,
I know.
Yes.
When plans you don't want get canceled, those are the best.
The best.
You just feel like, oh my God, I have all this free time now. What am I going to do with it? All right. So on to our topic, Yoda Liar. So this topic we've wanted to talk about for a while. I know we've talked about trusting your friends, but what about trusting your own instincts and your own gut? And I think when we look back at all of these relationships that we've had with people this who are just toxic. There are like buckets of red flags that we ignored, and it was all these gut feelings that like shit just didn't make sense, and it just felt wrong, and it just felt off, and we just ignored it and ignored it and ignored it, and then when it like you can't ignore it any longer, you're like, what the hell was I thinking? So one, it's like, the question is, what are those gut instincts? What do they feel like? And the other question is like, why do we ignore them, and how can we stop ignoring them? But one of my favorite Yoda quotes, which I love a ton of the Yoda quotes, right? But my favorite one is when he says, you will know the good from the bad when you are calm and at peace. And I love that. Because sometimes you just get so wrapped up into this person's like craziness that you're like, it's almost like fight or flight response. And you don't know what's going on. You're trying to figure everything out, and you're not calm and centered enough to say, whoa, this shit's fucked up. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong, but it's not for me.
Right. They also try to make you feel like it's your fault, though, too. Like they, from the very beginning.
Oh,
Did you feel that? Where so then you're just like, ooh, something doesn't feel right, but wait, maybe it's me. Oh, wait, maybe it's me, or my childhood issues or whatever.
Well, that's because they say that.
Yeah, they do.
What did your mom do to you?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like, you're right. Being with these people, it kind of whittles away at your ability to trust your own instincts because they tell you not to trust them.
Right.
Right? Like over and over, they tell you, I don't know why you don't trust me. I don't know why you don't believe in me. I don't know why you're not confident in me. Dude, what's wrong with you? Why do you have all those problems? Do you have trust issues? I can't. That in and of itself was one of those weird gaslighting things where I was like, you have trust issues. You have trust issues. And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't. I've never had trust issues until I met you. Right? But I was just like, I must really have trust issues. I guess he must be right about that. And I'm like, no, he was dead wrong. And I knew it. I knew it.
Right.
And I'm just letting him just convince me that somehow I have this traumatic childhood that I didn't have. You know? It's just, and I think it's like a little bit of projection too.
Oh, yeah.
It was totally his. But when we were doing our vast amounts of Google research on this topic, it's like 10 minutes. It was great.
Yeah.
But I actually came upon this study where that gut feeling, that crappy gut feeling when you just, something doesn't seem right, is actually a chemical reaction. And it is.
Is it cortisol?
Girl, you would know that better than me.
Yeah.
But it's a chemical reaction that is sort of instinctive and animalistic, and it's teaching, it's created to tell you there's danger. And then we just push it away until we ignore it, until we normalize it, until you like feeling like shitty and like you're going to throw up all the time. It's like the way you feel all the time when they're around. Right?
I think I can see where people would get that confused between like you get the butterflies in your stomach and the nervousness because you're like, oh, I'm so excited. But then that's like mixed with the feeling of danger because they're love bombing you. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they do love bomb you. One of the reasons why they just load it on, because then you'll just start to kind of like push your little intuition aside.
Oh, yeah, because but he's so nice to me.
Yeah, he's so nice.
He's so nice. He says all these nice things. So he must not be, the devil that he feels like in the pit of my stomach.
Yeah.
Well, and so recently this is such a long story, but I ended up giving someone a ride for about 2.5 hours. And she was, this woman was crying in my car because she was trying to decide whether she wanted to break up with her boyfriend. And it's not even somebody I know that well, right? It was like a friend of a friend. But I just felt really bad for her. And she kept saying to me, it's like weird. It's weird how this ends up in my lap.
Another weird.
But seriously, like, we started this podcast about toxic people. And now everybody I know has toxic people around them. It's like you build it and they will come.
Yeah.
So I have this girl in my car. She's just fucking crying like a lot. But it's okay, girl. I've been there. And she says, something doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Something's not adding up. I need to figure out what it is. I need to figure out why I just don't believe him when he's talking and why something's not making sense. And I go, you know what? No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't actually need to know that because it's enough to know that it doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. Because, look, you can dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and figure out why this shit doesn't make sense, and you're going to wish you didn't know.
And
Once you find out,
gaslight you anyway.
Right? They're just going to lie to you.
Yeah, it could take you forever to finally figure something out, and then they'll lie to you about it.
Well, and then when you find it out, it's going to be so goddamn terrible. You're going to be like, holy shit, I wish I never knew that. I wish I would have just left, 5 months ago.
As soon as it felt wrong.
Yep. And it's, I hate to say this. So tell me what you think of this. When you think they're lying, they're lying. Do you think that's true?
Wait, what do you mean?
When they're talking to you and you're like, this doesn't seem right. This seems like a lie. But they deny it.
Oh, yeah.
I have been called out on that so many times. Like, you don't know that. Like, maybe you just think everybody's lying. Maybe you're just suspicious of all people now. And I'm like, no, I don't generally think people are lying. But I struggle with that because I might be more suspicious of people than the general population, given what who I am and shit that I've had to deal with. But I still think that when that gut feeling is like, you can't quite trust this, you can't quite believe it, something's not right. Like, just go with that. And I don't. And if that's not fair to that person, does it matter?
No, and you can gauge if you do confront them with that, which it sounds like you were doing that. If someone gets super defensive, that's kind of like a dead giveaway right there. I mean, how do they respond to you? I mean, a person who knows your history would be really careful and be very kind of like gentle around that little situation and be like, let me explain this to you. I know you've had a history of people that were lying to you all the time. You know what I'm saying? They would go out of their way to make sure that you could trust them. And that should be something important for them if they want to build trust literally within their relationships. They start to freak out and put it back on you. That's weird.
Well, and what you get when you have the toxic person is in response to you're lying or I'm not quite trusting the situation. You not only get the pushing back, you get the word salad.
Oh, that is the worst thing ever. It's so awful.
I have like this, honest to God, I have this like nightmare. It's like it's a repeating nightmare. I have it constantly of a real situation where I was like in a car and I said, I think you're lying to me about whatever. And I think we went to a whole other state and I never said another word. Like seriously, we went like 3 hours of driving and I never said another word because he talked from that point forward. And it was about insanity. Yeah. It was like, it was all over the place. And then at the end of it, I think I was in trouble and I think he was mad at me and like screaming at me because I made him so upset. And I'm like, what just happened? That was so crazy. And it went from like, and the topics aren't even related.
Right.
You're like, I don't even remember what it was about, but it's like, you didn't call me when you said you were going to call me at 7:30, and it turns into like an argument about how I don't support his professional goals. I'm like, how did that happen?
Oh my God.
But it's just like,
because they want to take,
and they just want to talk and talk and talk until you can't get a word in edgewise.
Change the subject.
Don't know what happened.
And then you don't want to confront them anymore. Because you're like, am I going to deal with 3 hours of you being an idiot now? And like more words? You just don't want to do it. And you just don't confront it anymore.
I think that's it. I think they want to exhaust you.
Yeah.
You're like, if you say one more word, I'm going to fucking shoot myself. Yeah. Like, I don't even care what I was mad about anymore. I just want to jump out of the car.
Yep.
I want to jump out of the car and roll into the ditch and like take cover.
Because it's so much better than dealing with you for 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. And it wasn't even 3 hours of normal driving. It was 3 hours of going like 100 miles an hour because he's pissed.
Oh. I'm
like, I'm going to die in this car too.
Road rage.
Super road rage.
Yeah.
That was shock. So yeah, I mean, the word salad, if you ever get a word salad in response to like a normal question, that's
red flag. Red flag.
You know what's interesting is I didn't realize how little normal people do that until I got some distance from that situation, because it was like every day. It was every day of my life was word salad. And then I'm like interacting with normal people, and this person I'm trying to keep, as far away from me as humanly possible. I'm like, normal people don't do that.
Okay, so I was thinking about this. That's why when we were talking about the steps that they will take, I think one of the reasons why they distance you from friends, from family, why they want to move in with you right away and get as close as possible and spend all this time with you is because, just like Yoda said, if you have distance from these people and then you naturally will just process, whether you process consciously or you have nightmares about it, your subconscious processes, but you're processing what happened in your day. So if you have that space, then you can actually be like, shit, that's fucked up. What? That is fucked up. Wait, that wasn't right that he said that.
A little time for reflection.
If you have that reflection, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm a big advocate of yoga and meditation is because you get your ass in that class, but then all of a sudden you have time to process. You have time to be like, that person didn't feel right or that situation, something about that wasn't right.
Girl, is that why I used to cry in meditation all the time?
Hell yeah, that's why I still do. I cry in Shavasana. I cry in freaking half pigeon. Cry in headstand. I
was like, was that you crying in the back row? Yeah, it was me.
But that's, I think, why they do that, because then you if you start to, because then they just, all they want to do is turn you into this powerless person that doesn't believe in themselves anymore. And then they can use you and they can manipulate you. So they have to degrade your ability to trust yourself.
So that's interesting. So did you ever get pushback on whether you do yoga and meditation? Because I did.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't think you should do that. That's a waste of time. They're brainwashing you in there.
No, but I did get a brainwash on my therapist.
Really?
He would try to get me to not go to therapy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you heard my story back in the day when he was like, you should go to therapy. You're crazy. And then I was like, okay, I'll go to therapy. And he's like, stop going to therapy. He's going to tell you to leave. And I was like,
figuring me out.
I don't know. This feels like a yo-yo. What do you want me to do again?
Yeah, I never got that, but I can see why you would have.
So he wanted you to stop going to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
What was his stated reason? Because they can't tell the truth.
Oh, there wasn't. But that's the thing. It's never like explicitly, like in this last situation, it wasn't, there's never really explicit communication. It was this implied sort of thing that all therapists are crazy, Therapists are more crazy than everyone else. Like just, it's creating reasonable doubt, basically, is what he would do. Because then that way, he never told me to do anything. He just created reasonable doubt. Which, by the way, I was reading earlier this morning that's one way to get people out of cults.
What? Wait, what? That just took a shift. Okay, how do you get people out of cults?
One of the ways that you do it, because you can't be like, hey, this is bullshit, because they'll freak out and there'll be more retaliation. And more so, this article was on the political divide that's happening in our country. But so one of the ways you get people out of cults or get them to kind of change their mind is you just create reasonable doubt. Like, is it really helpful? Or did that really just create doubt.
How do they get him in the cult? That's the question.
I think it's easier to do.
You think?
People are looking for a freaking savior. They were looking to feel included. They want, that's psychology. But yeah, so he just did it all. That was what was so difficult about that one is that he was just so, maybe he was more covert. It was so weird. So that he would leave and I started to be like, you know what? Maybe my therapist is crazy. Of course, I still go and I got rid of the narc. I mean, he's out. But like, I did start to actually question.
Did you
my
tell
therapist.
your therapist?
No, but
that would be a good one.
I should. Yeah. We were talking about all the other shit that he was saying to me, so I didn't get to that point.
Yeah, well, that dude said a lot of crazy stuff.
Yes, he did.
Well, yeah, so, okay. So, back to that guy, because I remember that guy. And, this girl that was riding my car. And, you did the same thing. You're like, this seems weird. It seems off. It seems like he's hitting on the waiter. This just seems weird. Mm-hmm. And so, and I had a little bit of that too. And it's like they tell you, you're mixing it up. You're reading signals wrong.
Exactly
you have a really bad memory. I didn't say that. Or they say they have a bad memory.
Yeah.
Like when they're like, hey, remember that time we went to like Chuck E. Cheese? You're like, we never went to Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, I'm thinking, and then they'll like either word salad you, or they'll say, I'm mixing you up with my niece. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, you're not, you liar. Mm-hmm. So when those things are off, like, do you think that's intentional, or do you think that's a mistake? Are they just so troubled by having to weave together all these different narratives and these different lives and all the lies they're telling people, and they're just fucking up at it? Or do you think that's a tell?
I think it's both.
Really?
I think it depends on how far along they are on the spectrum and then how new. I swear, my last narc, I swear to God, all I did was make him a better narcissist. Because he fucked up with me a lot. And I think he was like, all right, now this is what I do instead. Now this is what. So for all of you people out there that think you can change him or her and then they'll see the light and become a better person. No.
Honey.
They will just use you to get better at their game of manipulation. They'll figure out how they fucked up and then they won't do that again.
I got so good at blaming myself for shit that would happen that I'm sure I made him a better narcissist.
Yeah, you probably
I'm sure
did.
I did. I apologize to everybody in his life that he ever crosses paths with after me
too.
because a lot of that shit was my fault. I made him so good at that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, ultimately, I guess I pulled the plug on it, but geez, man, I probably made him a way better narcissist. I think about that sometimes.
Yeah.
So what about, I know which guy you're talking about right now. Like, you think, I don't want to reveal too much, but so when his behaviors are like hitting on the waiter and saying odd things, do you think that he's trying to give it away?
I actually do. I think that he trusted me quite a bit, and I think he's probably, I really have a hard time having any sympathy for people in a position like him. But I think that he was probably struggling and he doesn't feel like he can actually talk about his sexuality. And so I think that I think part of it was he wanted to open up to someone, and that person was me, okay? Because he can trust me with that in terms of just, not judging or anything like that, but also triangulation. Because I was constantly, I was just like, and there's one person, a man in particular, that he would talk about all of the time. And I'm like, okay, we've been dating for 2 weeks. You should be spending your time trying to get to know me, asking questions about me, making me feel like I'm somewhat significant or special in your life. Otherwise, why are we here? But he would spend 95% of our conversation about this other guy.
A guy. So I think we didn't quite elaborate on that, but so you think he was dropping hints that he might be gay or bisexual?
Yes. And when I confronted him full-on confrontation, he would say, I can't believe you would throw this in my face. I can't believe you would make me feel like this. And I'm like,
aren't you open-minded?
I'm literally just asking you a question. That's all I'm doing. I'm asking you a question, and I'm looking for a truthful answer. And
by the way,
I can't believe you would take what I said and throw it around on me and make me, and I was like, tell me in every word I just stated how that's doing that. Well, and then then word salad, because I wasn't doing that. So he quick changed, and then all of a sudden, I'm whatever.
So, right.
Triangulation and also
I just want to pick out that one thing because that drove me nuts because I remember seeing his text messages to you.
Okay, really?
And I'm like, and he's like, I can't believe you would use that against me. And I'm like, okay. And I thought you were open-minded, and I thought you were liberal. And I'm like, okay. You're open-minded and liberal, but if you are into dating men, I'm not a guy.
I'm trying to figure out when you're making out with me on my sofa, if you're fantasizing about a dude. That's all I'm trying to know. Because if that's what's happening, I got to get out of this. I'm piecing out of here. That's the weird part, because I know that there are other people that are listening to this podcast that have experienced this, like where the guys are also have like gay, tendency. I don't know. We had really, really good sexual chemistry, which is what fucked it up even more. I was like, how is this even? Wow.
That should be a whole other podcast topic, by the way.
It's going to be, actually. So stay tuned.
But yeah.
Stay tuned.
Right. And then when he's, when you're talking about this particular guy and you're like, why are you talking about this guy all the time? And what did he say?
But then why are you telling me without giving too much away, he would just basically be like, well, he is my good friend. Of course I'm going to talk about him. I'm like, but I have some very good friends, and I don't talk about them. I don't talk about them all of the time. And whenever he'd be like, oh my gosh, this person, he said this. Oh, we did this together. Oh my gosh, this time, me and this person. Every conversation was about this other guy. And I'm like, dude, this is not, it's disrespectful, and it's strange.
Well, and he and the guy also admittedly
have
had a prior relationship.
Yeah.
So that's when it gets a little dicey, even if it's a woman, right? Mm-hmm. Even if you're dating a guy who has an ex-girlfriend that he talks about 24/7, but they were together, you would be like, why are you talking about her constantly?
It wasn't a relationship. It was like an experimentation or whatever. So it wasn't an actual full relationship. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, and then and then anyway, so there were just so many more things. And I'm like, but then you're telling me on this day that you want to marry me. Oh, this is after 2 weeks, writing me letters. You want to impregnate me. And I was like, I don't know if you realize this, but I don't want that. Like, he was saying all the things he thought I would want to hear.
He wanted to have babies with you?
Yes. He was like, oh my gosh, I gotta put a baby in you. And
Oh my God, he said that?
Yeah.
That's not a turn on.
No.
Ew.
No.
I want to put a baby in you.
Yeah. I was like, what?
You know that mental imagery that comes out with that? That's so gross.
Yeah. No, thank you. Anyway.
Well, you'd still be pregnant.
So, but here's the thing is when he would leave, this is when my intuition kicked in.
So he's
When
gone,
he
he's
would
out
leave,
of your space.
out of my space, I'd sit back around and be like, I literally actually would feel sick to my stomach. I would feel nauseous. Like something's not right.
Mm-hmm. So then how did you kind of tap in so you could trust your gut? Did you meditate? Just keep him away? Did you make him stop texting you?
You know, boundaries and then asking questions. And like we've talked about in previous podcasts, I would ask questions that, you know, and then put up boundaries. And he did not respond well. And then finally, I was like, he went from, we should be hanging out 6 days a week. All my other girlfriends, we would hang out all the time right away. He went from that to, ghosting me. And then when I would say, hey, I want to hang out, he'd be like, you know, you're really asking for a lot.
Yes.
Like literally. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yes.
So all of that. And I was like, okay.
They all do that. They all change like the sort of the contract of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you pull back, they push harder in. And then if you meet them halfway, then they pull back because they always want to keep you guessing.
They want to keep you guessing. They want to keep the drama going. They want to keep you confused. But yet, you know, you still got that little baby trauma bonding. So you're just kind of like, what's going on? But it seems like it
takes a ton of energy, doesn't it?
Yeah, on their part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do they think about it?
Well,
they're like, oh, she really likes me.
End up looking like Bill Clinton. He looks like death ran over. I mean, because look what he's been doing his whole life. It's like, well, Donald Trump serves you.
Ooh, let's talk about old narcissists and how gross they look. Donald Trump's nasty. Clinton looks like shit.
That's why they have money and power. They're like, that's all I got going for me.
That's all you got, man.
I can pick you up in a limo and I can buy you a steak, but that's it.
Buy my own steak. Yeah, so calming down, like trusting yourself, being calm and being at peace, I think those are super critical.
You got to just fucking respect yourself, man. You got to do it. You got to fucking find a way to respect yourself and just know your worth. And this shit, you just won't put up with it.
Well, and knowing who you are, because that's the thing. Everybody I've ever talked to who's been in a relationship with someone who's a sociopath or has narcissistic or an antisocial personality disorder, they all say, I stopped feeling like myself when I was with them. And that is so true. Like, and then when they're not with you and you have that sort of that addiction, you think, who am I? Am I the normal me who's who I am when they're not around, or am I that person? And the more they're around you, the more they kind of change your self-perception.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel like yourself with someone, you feel like somebody else, you got to get the fuck out.
You got to get out.
If you cannot shake the feeling that you can't trust them, just can't, for whatever reason, and you don't have to have a concrete reason. You don't have to have caught them with their pants down. You don't. If you can't shake it, there's a reason. That's what I was trying to impart to this 20-something-year-old girl I gave a ride back to. And I said to her, and I did say to her, I said, you know, do you want to be wondering this 5 years from now? Or 2 years from now? Like how, it's never going to change.
You're wasting your time.
You're going to marry the guy? I mean, come on. Have kids with him? That'd be perfect. Or do you just want to cut your losses now? Or just keep wasting time.
I feel like if you're in a relationship where you spend more of your time talking about that person to someone else because you're trying to figure things out, like putting a puzzle together, that is a bad sign. I've been there. I'm like, why am I spending most of my time talking to therapists, friends, other people, trying to figure out what's going on? You should be able, you should feel comfortable, you should feel safe, and you should be able to communicate everything to that partner without feeling like a piece of shit for bringing up your quote issues, whatever it is you have. And if you don't have that and you can't figure it out, I'd get the fuck out, or at least put some distance between the two of you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, it's just, that's it. It's.
And it can even be with a good guy. I mean, my last boyfriend, we had a like longer term relationship. He was a good guy. But my gut told me from the beginning he was not going to be the one for me, and I freaking knew it. You know what I did? I projected everything I wanted to do onto him. I would have like a bi-monthly, like every other week, I would have a panic attack, breakdown, meltdown.
Oh, I know.
Crying on the floor. You're going to leave me. You're going to leave me. Don't leave me. And he would look at me like, what? I could never want to leave you. I would marry you right now. And it was me projecting what I wanted to do to him. So it's funny how your intuition, like, for me, that's how it would manifest sometimes. I would get so anxious and just project all these things onto him. And it was me that wanted to do it. I wanted to leave. And I did. And I broke up with him. And I was very much in love with him. 2 weeks before I broke up with him, we had a great time. And I was like, I'm so in love with you. But I just knew he wasn't the right person for me. And 2 weeks later, that was it. It's done.
I remember why,
it was the best decision.
I remember why.
Oh, yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
First of all, only you make a boyfriend of like a year go to couples therapy.
I do.
An entire form of relationship questions with this couples therapist, and he left blank, what are your hopes and dreams? And you dumped him because he didn't have hopes and dreams. Which is valid.
Yeah.
But maybe he just couldn't think of any at the time.
Oh, no. That was an ongoing argument in our relationship.
You're like, I remember exactly what restaurant we were sitting at.
Was it the one? Oh,
yeah.
You gotta take that out.
I remember exactly where you were sitting, and you're like, can you believe it, guys? He doesn't have any hopes and dreams. And I was like, that's a problem. I mean, it doesn't surprise me because I know him, but
Right. Yeah.
Oh, God, that was hilarious.
This is what happens when people tell you to date your opposite. You know, it did for me. It didn't work.
Yeah, you shouldn't date your opposite. That's terrible.
Yeah.
But, it's those girls, right? I'm thinking of a friend in particular who hyper analyzes her relationship to the point where you want to, like, you'd rather get a root canal than hang out with her for one more second because she's like, yesterday Jay did X, Y, and Z. And what do you think that means? Do you think that means he doesn't want to see me anymore?
Oh,
Maybe
no.
It means he's afraid of a commitment. And I bet he's afraid of commitment because he feels so strongly about me. And I was like, if I have to listen to every thought in your head about this guy one more fucking second, I'm going to kill myself. And it's because and I'm like, look, that
if I
relationship
ever do that, you need to tell me.
Oh, girl, I will.
Seriously.
I told her too. And I was
Okay.
like, dude, this is terrible. This is not your guy. You can't stop fucking thinking about it. It is not an easy or a safe place for you because you are anxious about it 24 hours a day.
Right.
And
it's not right.
She married the dude.
Oh, shit.
And guess what? She doesn't talk to any of us. She doesn't talk to you. You know who I'm talking about. Me, any of our other girlfriends. She cut us all out. None of us have seen her.
Oh my gosh.
That girl would analyze. I'm waiting. I'm waiting
remember.
for this text message someday saying we're getting a divorce because it's coming, right?
Every time that I would spend time with her, every time, and I was like, oh my God, girl, get out. They're married.
She would have a dream about him, and we would have to talk about it. I was like, dude, I don't even like. I mean, he's all right. He's quiet. He's nothing. He's not hot.
He wasn't that good to her.
No. And every single thing that he did, she would analyze it to the nth degree. And that is a bad sign. Don't do that.
Bad sign.
Plus, your girlfriends will fucking hate you and not want to hang out anymore.
You notice your girlfriends start drinking a lot around you?
True.
That's why. Can I tell my story really quick about a time when my intuition was extremely strong?
Yes.
Okay, so if people are listening to this podcast, hopefully there's at least two people that are listening. Well, there are two people right now that are
episode
listening.
10 already.
But we pay them to be here, though.
Hi.
It's the topic of intuition can be very frustrating for people because they're like, what the fuck do you mean? What is intuition? I thought I listened to it and I was wrong. I thought I knew what it was. What is it? I don't want to sit cross-legged whatever and meditate just to find it. And I can't answer that question for you because I think for everyone it's different. I'd say give meditation and yoga a try or some sort of like walk in the woods, be around nature, different things. But I will say here, there was a time like 15 years ago where my intuition was so strong. And if I would have listened to it, it would have prevented a pretty tragic accident that I was in. I was at a party and had a few cocktails. And one of my girlfriends came over. I think this might have been before text messages. I don't know. She came over and she was like, hey, we got to go to this party on the West Side. And I was like, all right, cool. All right. So I remember we rolled up in her minivan. It was just me and her mom's minivan.
Are you hanging out with a mom or somebody driving?
I don't think it was her mom's minivan. I don't know. We were 21 or whatever. But anyway, so I just remember this so clearly. And what's funny is that I was not like, I was pretty drunk. And we were driving to the West Side. It was dark out. I still remember this moment so clearly. And all of a sudden, I hear an ambulance. But the ambulance, this is where it's so hard to put into words. I was like everything in my body was like, holy shit, something's going to happen. And it was like, it all happened too quickly. I couldn't even really, but I was like, I can't, in my head, I'm like, I can't go to this party. Something is going to happen. I just know it. Like the ambulance was not, like to everyone else, it was just a normal sound. But to me, it was like magnified by the volume was just like, the only thing I could hear, it drowned out everything else. And I was like, oh my God. And it was just like, like the hairs on my arms. Every cell in my body was like, do not go to this party. But of course I was fucking drunk and I went.
I'm 21.
And I go to the party. There's a guy there that I'm crushing on. And we decide to walk upstairs on the second floor out on the balcony. We were just like talking. But there weren't really lights. It was just not the best home. And there weren't really lights out there. And all of a sudden, the railing gave way. And we both fell 2 stories onto a gravel driveway. And I was paralyzed. And
just so everybody knows, you recovered. You're not paralyzed now.
I'm fine. I'll do jumping jacks right now if you want. Yep. But I was paralyzed. I couldn't move, and it was terrifying. And I do have, though, a huge gash on my skull that if I haven't washed my hair in a few days, you can like totally see it because they had to like staple my head. But anyways, I did end up going to the ER. It was just a huge ordeal. I had my head all freaking stapled, and it was nasty and everything else like that. But
what happened to the guy?
He's fine too. We both went to the ER.
Did you ever get a date after that?
Yeah, we actually kind of like were sort of like the whole friends with benefits thing. When I used to do that, we were kind of doing that for a while. He's a lot younger than me, but
he's a lot younger than you. You were 21. What was he? 16? Oh my God, was he?
No, God, no, he wasn't. No. How old? I must not have been 21. I must have been a little bit older. Anyways, but I remember that story so clearly because I feel like, I don't know if it's like the universe was trying to protect me or I don't know what it was, but my intuition, like it was just, and that was the first moment in my life where I was like, wow, that's intuition. And I didn't listen to it. It's all right. It's all good now. But, so I don't know, it manifests differently for people, but it's just this knowing, this gut feeling, and just fucking try it, like just listen to it, Yeah. And it does get easier as you get older. I think you learn to trust it more.
Well, it gets easier as you trust it, and it turns out to serve you well, then you're going to trust it again.
Exactly.
But yeah, so be calm, trust your gut. Don't be that girl in the back of S's car crying your eyes out. Like, calm the fuck down, take a deep breath, and just think about why. When everything doesn't make sense, it's just time to exit. Mm-hmm. Just time to go. Mm-hmm. All right. Who's your girl crush?
Oh, we might have to go.
You want me to go first? You got to think about it.
I have to think about it. Yeah.
I have a lot of girl crushes, so I have to narrow this down. This is super easy for me to do because I want to hang out with everybody, apparently. But I would love to hang out with Amy Poehler.
Oh.
Who, by the way, because you recently purchased for me one of those, what do Catholics call these things?
I don't know.
Those
I'm
candles,
Catholic. I should know. I don't know.
Those long Catholic candles.
Those long white Catholic candles.
With Amy Poehler on it. I'm going to have a shrine to her. It's the most beautiful thing. It's an object of beauty.
It's awesome.
Anyway, yeah, that was nice. Thanks. Thanks, Em.
You're welcome.
So she is very funny, but here's the thing. You cannot be that funny unless you're very, very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
And she is one smart chick. She is so smart. Mm-hmm. And she does the pregnant belly dance on SNL. That was fucking funny as shit. And I mean, she's this great mix of like intelligence and self-deprecation and political activism. Mm-hmm. And then she's hosting award shows and she's fucking hysterical. And she does a lot of her own writing. And I mean, of course I was smitten with her from Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Right? Parks and Rec, from the moment I saw that show for the first time, I was in love with this woman. And like Will Sebastian's funeral, it's the best show ever. But anyway, the real reason I think that I would just be smitten with her is I think she's like the smartest thing since Einstein. She's a genius and hysterically funny, and I would love to hang out with her. And I think that we wouldn't do it like a standard date. Like we would not do like dinner and a movie because that would be wasting all of my...
That would be wasting time.
I want to laugh, and I think she would be funny if we did something like skydiving. We would go, if we went that would be fucking awesome. If we went skydiving and then, then went out for some cocktails afterward.
That would be fun.
Maybe at like a country and western light dancing bar. Fuck, that'd be a sweet date. Me and Amy Poehler. Anybody knows her, tell her I want to hang out and I'm a pretty good time. Ask Em, I'm a great time.
I'm kind of a big deal over here. All right, mine? Okay. Kate McKinnon.
Ooh, yeah, I love her too.
Oh my gosh.
But we're just like an SNL
like,
theme
what
now.
do I even say? What do I need words for her? She is so damn funny.
Dude,
the alien abduction one, those SNL skits, I can't even.
Do you know that she ad-libbed that?
I did hear that.
There was a script, and when they recorded, she went off script and all that shit, like the line about like Porky Pig in it when she had no pants on. That is all ad-libbed.
Oh, she is. I love her so much. I love her so much.
She's
when Ryan Gosling was just dying laughing.
Oh, I know. He couldn't even stop.
It.
I saw her in some Broadway play when I was in New York once. Really? It was like before she was super famous. And I was like, I didn't even know who I saw when I saw her because she turned out to be amazing.
Yeah. I think I would want her to give me acting lessons. I would just want to like be on the set with her and just be like, all right, how do you do what you do?
Girl, I bet she is a boss ass bitch in like a dive bar. Like playing jukebox and shit. She'd be so fun.
We would do that afterwards. Just one of those like dirty freaking bars in like downtown New York. Just dirty as shit. Peanuts on the floor.
Yeah.
A jukebox that still takes quarters. Yeah.
That'd be sweet. I don't know if they have those in downtown New York anymore.
They should.
Maybe in Hell's Kitchen.
Those are so cool.
I know.
Oh, I love her.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, just click the button and subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter if you have those, because we have some good content. And if you DM us, we will respond. Promise.
We won't ghost you.